Hey students, today's lesson is on circles and circumference. Let's start with some key vocabulary. A circle is the set of all points in a plane that are the same distance from the center. A radius is the distance from the center to any point on the circle. And the diameter is the distance across the circle through the center. So here we have a diagram of a circle. It has a center. Here's one radius that has been drawn. It's the distance from the center to the outside. That distance would be the same if we drew it to any other point on the circle. And then the diameter is all the way across the circle through the center. So a quick key idea is that the diameter, which we use D to represent, of the circle is twice the radius. The diameter equals 2 times the radius. And the radius of a circle would be 1/2 of the diameter, or the diameter divided by 2. So now that we know that, if we know that the diameter of this circle is 20 feet, we could find the radius by just dividing by 2. So the radius would be 10 feet. And if we know that the radius of the circle is 7 meters, if we extended this all the way across, the diameter would be twice that length, or 14 meters. Now, a little more vocabulary. The circumference is the distance all the way around the circle. And pi is the ratio of the circumference to the diameter. And it's the same for any circle, and it's represented by this Greek letter pi. So, this key idea, the circumference of a circle is equal to pi times the diameter, or pi times twice the radius. So the two formulas that we'll be using is C equals pi d, circumference equals pi times diameter, or circumference equals 2 pi r, 2 times pi times the radius. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at some examples here. For this first example, we're going to find the circumference of the flying disc, and we're going to use 3.14 as an approximation for pi. Pi is a non-terminating decimal. It goes on forever. It doesn't repeat. It doesn't terminate. So we need to use some sort of an approximation for pi, unless we're using the pi button on our calculator. But for right now, it says we're going to use 3.14 for pi. So we're going to start with out of the two formulas that we saw, we're given the radius here. So we're going to start with C equals 2 pi r, 2 times pi times the radius. And that circumference is going to be 2 times, we're going to use 3.14 for pi, 3.14 times our radius, which is 5. Now, you can use your calculators for these, but we actually don't need it for this one. 2 times 5 is 10. 10 times 3.14 will be 31.4 inches, right? We're looking for the distance around, so those would be linear units, inches. Okay, here's our second example. We're going to find the circumference of the watch face. This time we're going to use 22/7 as approximation for pi. If you put in 22 divided by 7 in your calculator, you'll get 3.14 something. And that fraction gives us a pretty good approximation for pi. So this time we're given the diameter is 28 meters. So we're going to start with C equals pi d. And we'll use 22/7 for pi. And the diameter was 28. I'll write it as 28/1. So we can clearly see that 28 is in the numerator. We can simplify a little bit before we multiply here. 7 goes into itself once and into 28 4 times. 4 times 22 is 88, and this would be millimeters. We really should be using an equal sign that has this little wave to it to show this is an approximation, right? So C is approximately equal to 88 millimeters, and it's approximately equal to 31.4 inches. It's an approximation. Okay, let's look at our next example. It says the circumference of the roll of caution tape decreases 10.5 inches after a construction worker uses some of it. Now we'll estimate the diameter after this decrease. So we start with a circumference of 31.4. Let's go ahead and subtract 10.5 inches from that. And we get 20.9 inches is our new circumference. And we want to find the diameter. So we want to use our equation C equals pi d. We have our circumference is 20.9. And we're going to we're going to estimate the diameter here. So we're going to say that's equal to approximately 3.14, oops, I missed my one, 3.14 times d. Then to solve for d, we need to divide both sides by 3.14. And we get D is approximately equal to 6.7 inches. All right, one more example. This time we're going to find the perimeter of this semicircular region. So the semicircle, a semicircle is 1/2 of a circle. So to find the perimeter, we're going to find half of the circumference plus the diameter, okay? So we're going to set this up that P equals 1/2 of pi times d. So 1/2 of the circumference plus the diameter, which is 6. So our perimeter is going to equal 1/2. We'll go ahead and use 3.14 as our approximation. 1/2 times 3.14 times 6 plus 6. We can use our calculator to find our half of the circumference. So 1/2 times 3.14 times 6 is 9.42 plus 6. So P equals 15.42 meters. All right, that's it. Go ahead and try a few on your own. I'll see you soon.